I'm Representative Doyle Heffley from the 122nd District here at the 95th Annual Pennsylvania Farm Show, talking with Charlie Vorisek regarding the honeybees here across the state and how dependent the agricultural industry is upon them, and some of the problems that we've seen not only in Pennsylvania but across the nation here with the honeybee population. Charlie, if you could just brief us a little bit on give us some insight on this problem.
Well, the colony collapses started, we first put a name to it in 2006, 2007, and it's an ongoing problem where we have colony collapses where the bees just disappear or they die suddenly without a lot of explanation. The study's ongoing. Penn State is one of the integral parts of the study. They do an excellent job to have some of the best researchers in the country as far as I'm concerned. We haven't got a solution to it at this point. We still have a lot of suspect areas. Basically, we're looking at probably 6 areas, which would include stresses, nutrition, genetics, viruses, pesticides, and bacteria. Those are the study points. Of course, one of the things they find as they're studying is that the more they find, more things they try to answer, the more questions they have. So we're still trying to establish like a baseline of what's normal. For instance, with chemical loads or pesticide loads, we don't know we've never had a normal, know where to start from. So there's a lot of baseline that's needed to be started, and so we're still in the works. We're still in the works. We do, as management, as we manage our hives, we know that we can control some things like genetics and nutrition and some of the stresses, so we can relieve some of that, problems that way.
And how dependent is the agricultural industry upon the honeybees here in the state? I mean, with this problem, how large is the problem? How is it really going to affect the industry?
It affects a lot more than people would realize. There's over 90 crops dependent on pollination. About a third of our food is dependent on pollination, on honeybee pollination. We have some commercial beekeepers within the state that travel all the way from Florida to Maine to California with bees just for pollination, just to help pollinate crops that are dependent on pollination. So they're suffering through the colony collapses, and it becomes more expensive to keep them and more expensive to replace them, and those things will be reflected in the grocery prices because it raises it. It just has to raise it.
Tell us a little bit about these bees in here in the colony behind us.
This is what's called an observation hive, and we bring this into the farm show as part of the learning center, and it's an illustration of a working colony on a single plane. And we have in the bottom area we have brood comb area where the queen would have been laying eggs and they're raising the brood and it's capped, and then it'll transition into there's some honey in this area. It's an older frame of honey, and on the top we have a nice light colored frame of honey, and the bees during the winter time are going to live on the honey that is left for them from the summer. They're not producing any honey now, they're just using it. But this is a nice illustration. A lot of public never comes in contact with bees, and it really works well.
Well, Charlie, thank you very much for this explanation on honeybees, and as we look for solutions in the future for this blight of the honeybee, certainly hope that we can get this the funding and what's necessary to get these problems solved.
Well, we certainly appreciate the legislation's interest and support.
Yeah.
It really means a lot to the beekeepers.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.